Hey, how's it going? I'm the Sunrise Gecko, and welcome to Side Stories. Basically, sidekick simulator where your choices matter in how you're remembered as the footnote to the hero. So let's get into it. New game. Welcome to the world of Guerra. It is a world of magic and stories, of friendship and betrayal, of villains and heroes. When a great evil appears, a hero appears to counter them. Actions of these heroes will resound through history. You are not a hero, okay? Your legacy will not endure. No stories written, no songs sung. If they remember you at all, it will be as a footnote in a hero's story. Will it be as a loyal companion, a reviled betrayer, or nothing at all? Only time will tell. Ooh, yeah, and you pick it out like this. Do I want to be Robbie the Gunslinger or why the eccentric mage? I'm going Gunslinger. You're Robbie, a rogue gunslinger. It hasn't been an easy life for you. You grew up on the streets, never knowing your parents. You were a bit shorter than the other street urchins and were often the butt of many a joke. Short-tempered? I'm not sorry. Through doing some odd jobs for some characters of ill repute, you managed to obtain your first pair of revolvers. Ooh. With your newfound weaponry, you find that people are less willing to make jokes at your expense. To your face, at least. If there's a job to be done, everyone knows that you're the one to do it. That's why it's no surprise when you're the one chosen to pull off a big heist. You hear that a local bandit leader has been paid a lot of money to smuggle some weaponry, and you hurry to relieve the bandit of his riches. Everything's gone smoothly. You watch the bandit leader from the shadows, waiting for his attention to stray from your prize. Ooh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. He looks away momentarily, and you think this may be your chance. I'm going to bide my time because I find it a little strange that the bandit leader is by himself. You bide your time, hoping for a better opportunity. But as it turns out, you weren't the only one who caught wind of this job. And this other scamp isn't as good at it as you are. As they make a go for the riches, they're immediately spotted. Aha! The bandits then scour the camp, looking for any accomplices. You're good, but not that good. The bandits capture you and toss you in a cell, hoping to find some use for you later. The other thief wasn't so lucky. A few hours later, there's a great turmoil when she arrives. The sounds of screams and the clanging of metal fill your ears. Your captors fall as she cuts them down. She cuts the lock off your cell and looks at you. Unsure of her intentions, Well, should we try to hastily explain that we are grateful for her help and we're a captive of the group she destroyed? Try to sneak out while she's not looking? No. Indignantly explain that you had everything under control and that her presence was not required. You were just posing as a prisoner to get closer to the leader. No. Say nothing. I'm gonna say nothing. I feel like Rogue Gunslinger wouldn't say a word. Ah, the quiet type, she says. We could use more of that, couldn't we, Chuck? She looks pointedly at the raptor. It trills. You almost feel like it's offended. She explains her mission. You feel the logic behind her arguments and feel compelled to join her on her journey. Oh, what's my choice here? I guess I'll join her. The name's Renee, by the way. The raptor's Chuck. Robbie, you respond. By the time that Renee busted you out, she had already eliminated most of the resistance. The two of you were able to mop up the remaining token resistance, reclaiming your supplies along the way. There's only one room left. Renee bursts down the door, and the bandit leader drops his weapon, begging for mercy. I don't want to fight you. I was just doing this for the money. I'll do anything. Just let me go. Sensing an opportunity to express your opinion, you say, Ooh, here we go. Ooh, lots of choices. put him down like the dog he is. He held me hostage and deserves no sympathy. I mean, other than throwing you in the cell, he really didn't do anything. Yeah, if there had been torture involved, I'd have been on board with it. Why are you going to give the leader of this group more mercy than you did his lackeys? He is the one who organized everything and is responsible for their actions. If anything, it is those in his employ who deserve the mercy, not him. I like that. So, let's see what the other choices are, but I like that one. Mercy is always a goal worth striving for. If he is truly willing to change his ways, why not give him a chance? Let him go. Well, you didn't let the others go. Turn him into the authorities. He broke the law and it is his duty to face punishment. I feel like the bandit would buy his way out. He's a resourceful fellow and knows you his life. We should utilize his unique, perhaps slightly unsavory skill set to help us down the line. Ooh, I like that one too. He's got a stash somewhere. Let him go if he can pay us enough to make it worth our time. There's got to be someone somewhere who'd be willing to pay for a laborer like this. Oh, no, slavery. No, don't do that. I'm caught between the, making him take ownership and using his skill set down the line. Nah, I'm gonna go with my original choice. Your leader dutifully listens to your opinion, her face showing no emotions. After careful contemplation, she has made her decision. We are a land of law and order, Renee exclaims. It is not my authority to choose which fate will befall you. The nearby town has authorities, and it's up to them to determine a just punishment. Come with us so that we can see justice served. When your leader turns away, the bandit leader pulls out a hidden sidearm. I knew he couldn't be trusted, and moves to shoot her in the back. Thankfully, you're quicker on the trigger than he is. With a smoking hole in his torso, the bandit falls to the ground. It seems that I owe you a whole lot for that save. I love it. Puns are my favorite. Yes, I love her puns. Okay. The three... Sorry. I thought that was funny. The three of you search the room of the bandit leader's camp. Aside from the substantial amount of money stashed away, a note catches your leader's eye. Dear Mr. Bandit Leader, I hope this letter finds you well. Regarding our interactions last week, I greatly appreciate your assistance in certain, shall we say, indelicate matters. I'm placing great faith in you, and as such, have decided to pay your fees up front in their entirety. They should arrive along with the courier that brings this letter. Their safe return would be greatly appreciated. You have no idea how hard it is to find a good, I guess I should say capable here instead, courier these days. As I said before, these weapons are an essential part of supplying my army for the troubling times to come. If you do well, I'm certain I can find you a high position in the society once we've addressed those greater threats I discussed with you. I would be remiss not to remind you that I am quite capable of crushing you and your band if you attempt to disobey me. Regarding the advice you gave me in person, I'm delighted to say that adding some spikes to the shoulders of my outfit does do wonders for intimidating my underlings. Yours truly, Malefactrix. You do your thing. While your rescuer is reading the note, you continue to search the room for any errant supplies. Your hard work pays off. You find a healing potion that you place carefully in your backpack, wrapping it in some clothes to prevent cracking its delicate casing during combat. Most informative, your leader exclaims, after a suspiciously long time spent reading. It seems we now have a name to put to the mysterious forces causing trouble in the region. Malefactrix. You begin to walk to Renee's base of operations. Elemental. We got a chance for some quick introductions back at that bandit camp, but I should probably give you the standard spiel. Hail and well met, as I said before, I am Renee. You may have heard of me. She doesn't wait for you to respond. And that's Chuck, she points at a raptor. She's my raptor. She doesn't bite. Much. Unless you deserve it. Her eyes narrow. There's a warlord who's been exerting their malicious influence over the region, generally making life miserable for anyone they run into. They're responsible for paying the bandit leader to smuggle all that weaponry. By attempting to steal the money, you're actually doing the realm a favor. This is news to me. Anyway, I decided that it would be selfish to just leave you in that prison. You're welcome to join my group as we continue our campaign against the evil Malefactrix. Anywhere is better than the dump you lived in. Besides, it seems like following Renee is going to give some pretty good loot. You'd be a fool not to join in. When you agree to join their party, Chuck chirps in glee. We continue walking. You make your way out of the woods into a large clearing and see an array of carriages and wagons. Welcome, Renee says, to your new home. She pauses for a second, collecting herself before continuing. There are several available wagons, so feel free to grab any one that's open. I kind of want to know why there's so many empty wagons. Why are there so many empty wagons? Oh, excuse me. Why are there so many empty wagons, you ask? Renee takes a deep breath and then exhales. Finally, she speaks. We used to have more people in our group. That changed recently. There's a finality in her voice that discourages further questioning. Well, I put a questioning note. I like mine better. So there. You thank Renee for her generosity and set up in one of the smaller wagons. You've always felt more comfortable in smaller spaces. Less avenues to be attacked from. Makes sense. It seems that this wagon was recently occupied. There are a few personal letters attached to the wall. Letters of a sort that wouldn't be left behind unless one left in a rush. Unsure of what to do with them, you place them off to the side. You didn't have many personal effects. They were just a liability. You hear a commotion as the caravan begins to get going. You see Chuck meander by. Are you going to pull my caravan, you ask? Chuck tilts her head, then wanders off. Renee helps you yoke an oxen, and your journey with the caravan begins. The quest begins! I have no idea how long this is going to be. Your caravan rolls along down the road, and you see a group of 3 soldiers wearing Malefactrix's colors walking down the road. They're quickly surrounded by members of your troop, and quickly surrender. Renee goes to talk to them. They say that they're defectors from Malefactrix, having seen the dark side of their leader's actions, and wish to join you. Renee welcomes them, but asks you to keep a close eye on them, just in case they're still aligned with Malefactrix. The enhanced scrutiny ends up being unnecessary. They had been swept up in Malefactrix's search for soldiers, and gotten in far over their heads. They're some of the best people you've met. We continue onward. As you're walking in the caravan, you hear a massive explosion. You unholster your revolvers, looking for the source of the attack. Chuck, who had been curled up in the back of one of the wagons, has jumped to attention. You see smoke begin to rise up in the east. You establish eye contact with your leader and move in the direction of the explosion. Chuck has already gone back to sleep. After walking for several minutes, you see a crater that has been formed in the forest. Thankfully, not accompanied by fire. In the center of the crater, an ugly red creature with disproportionately large ears sits, wailing in anguish. I mean, it's in pain. So I don't think it's a threat at the moment. Since there doesn't seem to be an active threat, you holster your revolvers. The strange creature doesn't seem like it's looking to attack. Renee approaches the strange creature. Sensing her approach, the bizarre monster looks up. "They gone!" it cries. "They gone!" "What's gone?" she queries. "My precious!" The creature responds, beginning to calm itself. It thinks for a second, then wails once more. My boomsticks! It is inconsolable. Renee glances at you, and you shrug your shoulders. You have no idea what's going on here. Hey, buddy, Renee begins tentatively. Everything will be fine. The creature stops crying once again, sniffling as it tries to hold back tears. Everything fine? It asks. Yes, Renee said soothingly. We can find you more of these boomsticks. All sign of sorrow disappeared from the creature's face. More sticks! More sticks! It cries in ecstasy. What's your name, pal? Your leader What's your name, pal? Your leader asks. My name is Renee. Me Glorbnit, it says. Me Goblin. Nice to meet you, Glorbnit. This here is Robbie, and I've got a nice velociraptor named Chuck who I think would love to meet you. We walk back to camp. As you walk back to camp, you manage to get more information about what happened. While goblins are normally a very social species, Glorbnit has dreams and aspirations that don't match up with the underground goblin society. Specifically, he loves explosions. Who doesn't? Especially giant ones. He had built up quite a stash of explosives, but when Glorbnit was hunting for food, something seems to have set off the explosives. While Glorbnit isn't forthcoming with the details, you get the sense that he's more disappointed that he missed the explosion than the loss of the boomsticks. You aren't quite sure about the logic of bringing a self-proclaimed lover of explosives into the camp, especially one with a history of previous uncontrolled detonations, but it's not your call. Renee seems to agree. She's trying to convince Glorbnit to do anything other than stay, but Glorbnit is enthusiastically expressing his desire to remain with your group. And maybe it's not your leader's call either. Glorbnit may have just obliviously powered his way into joining your party through guileless optimism. It's equal parts alarming and inspirational. I love it. While attempting to chase down rumors as to the location of Malefactrix, sorry, this is too much fun. Your caravan comes across a town. The hustle and bustle that normally characterizes a town at midday is absent. And you notice that instead of children playing in the street, there are boarded up windows. Something is wrong. As your party walks up, a number of wolf-sized spiders crawl from the alleyway, venom dripping from their fangs. A stray thought strikes you. It seems like an awful waste of venom just to have it dripping off the fangs at any time. If you were able to attach some little bags to those fangs, why, you could probably make some good money selling the venom to some less than reputable scoundrels that you know. Unfortunately, you doubt that the spiders will be alive long enough to be able to sustainably harvest their venom. They might also have some objections. Yeah. Your party spreads out, looking to gain strategic positioning for the battle to come. As Renee moves to cut down the spiders, you shoot them judiciously from a respectable distance. You never knew your parents, but the streets didn't raise no fool. Or did they? You hear a hissing from behind you, and you see a spider rear back to pounce. As it springs toward you, you level your gun at its abdomen and pull the trigger, blasting its insides outside. Its momentum largely unimpeded, the body crashes into you, knocking you to the ground. When you manage to push the dead weight off of you, you notice that the sounds of battle have subsided, and it's only your group that is left standing. Well, except for you. You're on the ground. I love this. Renee looks at you, barely managing to keep a smile crossing her face. Chuck ambles over and begins to lick your face. So much for keeping your distance. A short, sturdy-looking woman cautiously cracks open a door, and seeing that the threat has been taken care of, nonchalantly opens the door and walks over to you. Well, much obliged, hero, she says, looking at Renee with admiration. Welcome to Jane's Landing. I'm Delilah. I have the bad luck of being the mayor of this humble town. We're all thankful for y'all's help in dealing with this here dread spider problem. Our town has long been harassed by a considerable nest of dread spiders over there in that there wilderness. I thought dread spiders had been made extinct by the armies of Queen Andreas hundreds of years ago. If only that were the case, partner. Dread spiders are a resourceful species, and as long as the egg of a queen dread spider exists, it can be resurrected by a good old blaze at any time. One of these eggs must have survived the purge and was brought to life a short time ago, after a suspicious character passed through our little hovel here and up to the north. Since then, our town has been plagued by spiders. If you would be so kind as to wipe out this here spider problem, we would owe you one whopper of a debt. I wonder about the mysterious stranger's identity. You have a feeling you may know who passed through here, and you can tell Renee has the same idea. We'd be happy to help, she begins. And once we come back, I'd be quite thankful if you could show me where that feller who came through here earlier ran off to. I think they're who I think they are, and we have a score to settle with them. It'd be my pleasure, Dan says, beaming. Give him a punch or two for me. You hear? Tom! Delilah shouts, suddenly causing your party to jump in surprise. You get your butt over here and show these here's how to get to that darn nest. A haggard, craggy man meanders over to your group, managing to find the time to spite Delilah despite the urgency of the threat to their town. He absent-mindedly scratches his face. Oh, yeah. Reckon that the spiders come from that there Baraska. That done run out of metal longer ago, and I've been alive. Despite his appearance, Tom is a chatty, amiable fellow, and the time passes quickly as you march the spider's nest. While you're walking, he goes over some of the finer points of dread spider's biology. Ooh, he clearly has done some investigating while trying to find some way to save the town. I'm going to listen intently. While you should crush any spiders you come across, the most important thing is that you need to do is kill the nest's queen and ensure that the clutch of eggs the queen is guarding does not survive. Mature dread spiders are unable to turn into queens, but newly hatched dread spiders will instinctually notice the absence of a dread spider queen and morph into one if none is present. That doesn't sound like how normal spiders reproduce at all, but hey, you're no expert. As you approach the spent mine, there's no question that this is the source of the dread spiders. The wood beams that support the entrance to the mine are covered in webs, and the desiccated husks of unrecognizable animals litter the outside. What does stand out, however, is the distinct lack of any dread spiders. You aren't sure if you've caught them unawares or if they're lying in wait, but either way, those spiders aren't going to kill themselves. You think. You're no expert. While Renee isn't eager to split up your party, someone needs to look out for Tom. If nothing else, he's good conversation, so it wouldn't do to let him stand out here alone. Renee orders Glorbnit to guard Tom until the group of you gets back. He's gonna be blowed up. It's probably for the best that the bomb-throwing goblin isn't coming into the cave. I don't think Tom's gonna be there when we come back. I think there's gonna be a crater where Tom needs to be. Don't ask me how Glorbnit's going to get the explosives, but he is. The three of you sneak into the cave. As you cautiously make your way further and further into the cave, the lack of spiders gets more and more suspicious. As the path branches, you and Renee follow Chuck as she assertively makes her way down one of the branches. As you continue along, weapons drawn, you hear skittering ahead of you. A good sign. You had begun to get worried. Then you hear it behind you then you hear it behind you as well. Renee hears it too. You begin to worry. While she faces forward, she instructs you and Chuck to face backwards. Your earlier instincts were correct. This was a trap, and the three of you walked right into it. The only advantage that the three of you have is that the tunnels are only large enough to allow a single spider attack from one side at a time. The skittering gets louder and louder, and as the spiders come into view, you realize a critical mistake you've made with that assumption. You were assuming that they could only attack side by side, but these spiders can attack from above and in front. As one is skittering along the ground, another climbs across the ceiling. As you take aim at the spider in front and above you, Chuck snarls at the one coming from below. At least you don't have to take them both on by yourself. Once they're close enough that you're confident you won't miss, you start taking shots at them. The most dangerous time in this battle, you think, is when you're reloading. Yeah. They've finally gotten within melee range. Chuck rips the leg off the spider, tossing it to the side. You aren't sure whether Chuck realizes it or not, but this is a wise strategic move. By hobbling the attackers, it'll slow the approach of the others. Another spider shoves past the maimed one, lunging to sink its fangs into Chuck. Its head explodes as your bullet enters it. Yeah! As more and more corpses pile up, it gets harder for the spiders to reach you. You fire a few quick shots and begin the lengthy process of reloading your revolvers. It's precise work, and the loss of even a bit of attention at this point could cause you to lose your bullets and precious time. I will focus on reloading. Chuck, you got this. You hear a hiss as the spider jumps for you, but Chuck catches one of its legs, its momentum causing it to careen into the wall. You finish reloading without issue, and you look up to see the spider corpses begin to form a barrier. The juice from the spiders have formed a small river running down towards your leader, coating your boots. The rate at the spider's approach you is slowed to a trickle, as they have to force their way through the bodies of their siblings to attack. Sensing an opening, you look behind you to make sure your leader is faring well. You needn't have bothered. She's able to match the fighting of the two of you combined. You aren't sure how long it took, but the spiders eventually stopped coming. You hope that's all of them. Well, Renee begins, if we're lucky, we'll only have the queen left. You had forgotten about the queen. It's not long until you see the narrow tunnels open up into an expansive cave. Eggs fill the floor, and a gargantuan spider towers over them. This must be the queen. You aren't quite sure how the three of you are going to topple it. You're low on ammo, you're exhausted, and you're absolutely covered in spider guts. You look over at Renee. She is indefatigable. I'm sure she's got a plan. Your leader hides around the corner and whispers hurriedly, Robbie, I want you to distract her. There's a ledge that circles around over the entrance, and if you take pot shots from here, it should draw her over. If I can get up on that ledge without her noticing, I should be able to attack her from above. Chuck, you stay here. We don't want you to get trampled. You nod, and Chuck titters. If you didn't know better, you'd think she was disappointed. Yeah, she's disappointed. I know better. You give Renee a few moments to sneak off to the side, and you shoot one of the eggs. Over here, you big spider, you shout. It's not your best wordplay, but it's a spider. There's no impressing spiders. It turns toward you, and you shoot at its alien face. You see one of its eyes pop, and vitreous liquid pours out. You've definitely gotten its attention. It stamps over to you, and you retreat further into the tunnel. It tries to poke at you with one of its feet, but you deftly avoid its probing. Your leader drives her sword into its neck, severing the connection between the spider's ganglia and the rest of its body. The spider collapses, crushing many of the eggs, then thrashes about wildly. You retreat even further into the tunnel, and your leader jumps in after you. After a disturbingly long time, the spider's thrashing stops, and only a few eggs remain intact. I'm going to take a second to relax and get some water. Alright. The three of you survey the scene, and Chuck begins to lap up some of the blood. You aren't sure if it's healthy, but Renee doesn't say anything, so you let it go. Detecting an opening to express your opinion, you say, I really hated treading through those nests. Have you seen my shoes? They're ruined. No. Preservation of biodiversity is a valuable goal. Eliminating the species may throw off the world's ecosystem. You've trimmed their note now. Take a queen egg to use in a conservation effort. You shouldn't allow the species to snuff out the life of those around us, but it's worth... No! The species has caused nothing but trouble. If it had its way, it would drive the world to ruin. We should cut it off at its source. Take a queen egg to sell its offspring as pets. Selling this... no, that's bad. That's a bad idea. We shouldn't have done this in the first place. Let's toss a few people in here to get this population booming. I don't know. maybe the zoo idea. We don't know how important they may be, and the venom could be a cure for something. The more I think about it, more I like the zoo idea. Lear dutifully listens to your opinion, her face showing no emotion. After careful contemplation, she has made her decision. Renee spits some slime out of her mouth. I am, from tip to toe, just absolutely covered in viscera. These spiders were like gut piñatas. No species whose bodies are this eager to pop deserves to live. She stomps on the rest of the eggs. I wouldn't have had to do that, but they kept on egging me, she quips. I love her puns. I do. I really do. You wouldn't have thought it possible, but Tom is more animated and exuberant than before. Taking out those spiders clearly lifted a weight from his shoulders that you wouldn't have guessed was there. If it's possible for someone to be happier, you haven't seen it. You hear it before you see it. Tom, you darn fool, get over here, Delilah shouts, happy to see all of you, but him most of all. Unable to suppress his excitement, he breaks out into a smile. As you enter the town, doors slam open and people spill out onto the streets. Celebrations last long into the night, and by the time you awake, all of the boards are missing from the windows. Yeah, I consider that a plus. The townsfolk shower you with all the supplies they can spare, and Delilah leads you to the pathway the mysterious saboteur took. If the Watchers are feeling giving, this will be the path that will take you right to Malefactrix. We set off on that path. Excuse me. I don't know how close we are getting to the end, but I'm starting to feel my voice go. So we're going to call it here. And if I have to, I can just come back and replay up to this point, and we'll start again from here. Because I've been recording for a good 30 minutes. I think that's a good start to this little story. So far, I'm enjoying it. I am absolutely loving the dialogue. I'm probably going to add some music and some sounds to it just to help things out a little bit. But other than that, I'm enjoying this little text-based adventure. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Give me your opinion. If you want to play as well, there's a link in the description. It's free. Can't go wrong there. And come on back for whatever we decide to do next. Probably this. Until then, have a good one.